Hello, and welcome to Tech Latest from Nikkei Asia, where we bring you the freshest updates from the technology sector in Asia. This week's episode is all about AI, from the DeepSeek shock to the deepening partnership between OpenAI and SoftBank Group. Here with us in Tokyo is Nikkei Asia's own Ryohtaroh Satoh. Welcome to the show, Ryohtaroh.
Hi, thanks for having me.
For a lot of people, Chinese AI developer DeepSeek came out of nowhere with its claim that it had developed this AI model that was just as good as ChatGPT, but at a fraction of the cost. I think their claim is something like $5 or $6 million to develop it, compared to more than $100 million that OpenAI spent developing GPT-4. So that's quite a difference. And naturally, these big claims have led to a lot of debate and discussion about just how DeepSeek might have achieved that.
Yes, DeepSeek has been in the center of attention in the tech sector for the couple of weeks. Virtually every press conference on tech companies had questions related to DeepSeek. And you can see the market reaction. NVIDIA lost $589 billion USD after DeepSeek announced one of its AI models, the biggest loss for an American company ever. It's also interesting how much the opinion against the company is polarizing. Some believe this is one of the major breakthroughs and a success story by a small, relatively unknown Chinese company to democratize generative AI. And some believe that DeepSeek achieved this by taking know-how from OpenAI through questionable means using a technique called distillation.
That word distillation is one that I hadn't heard until the DeepSeek claims came out. Could you tell us a bit more about it and why it can sometimes be controversial?
To be honest, I haven't heard of the distillation either. Distillation is a very common tactic which is used by big AI developers, including NVIDIA. It's used for training AI, especially to tailor a large language model so it can produce more accurate and helpful answers to the users. Conventionally, this was done by feeding set of questions and good answers data to AI models. And distillation happens whenever you use a large language model to become a teacher of a small counterpart to tell them what is good answer is and what's not, which can cut time money needed for training AI.
I see.
So many institutions do this using their own language model as a teacher. So that's perfectly fine. But this becomes more controversial when you use someone else's AI model to teach your own model to make those AI models better, which is what some of the tech industry believe DeepSeek has done, piggybacking on the OpenAI results.
That makes sense. So it's not the method itself that's controversial. It's more whose data sets you're using and kind of how open you are about what you've done to achieve what you've done. So after the initial shock of DeepSeek's claims to be so much cheaper, a lot of American companies actually have come out with some pretty warm words saying it's good news and good for the industry. As you mentioned in all the recent earnings calls, Meta, Microsoft, Google were all asked about the company, and they all said something along the lines of cheaper AI is good for everyone. It's going to increase demand, it's going to increase applications, and we'll all be a big happy AI family. What's your take on that view of DeepSeek? Are they trying to downplay a threat to the current model, or are lower costs really something that we should be celebrating?
First of all, there is no publicly available proof that DeepSeek has done anything wrong. So I presume they don't want to point fingers just yet. But also, more cheap in the open source AI technology is beneficial for many of the tech companies because developing advanced AI and operating them on a large scale require heavy investment on data centers and expensive chips, even for big tech companies. It will also help if smaller companies can provide AIs which can be a substitute for OpenAI's ChatGPT or NVIDIA-led sort of ecosystem in specific areas, which will provide more option for the users and likely bring the price down.
That is a good argument. I guess not everyone, one, can afford the most powerful cutting-edge AI models like OpenAI's, and not everyone needs them for every application. So I'm sure there is market room for less expensive, though still powerful enough models.
You're right. And for companies like OpenAI or its investor Microsoft, I think they are still confident that they are leading the industry and technology. One AI developer told me that if you can make good models by distilling ChatGPT, that will only prove that OpenAI's technology is superior in the industry.
That's a really good point. And staying ahead in tech innovation has always been a game for deep-pocketed companies. No matter how many smaller ones come along and do things maybe more efficiently or a bit more cheaply, I think it would be a bit of a stretch to say the heavily investment-led approach is going to go away anytime soon.
Right.
And that brings us to one of tech's most aggressive spenders, Masayoshi Son. His company SoftBank has tied up with OpenAI for massive, massive AI investments in the US and most recently a joint venture in Japan.
Yes, SoftBank said they're investing in AI data centers in the US while investing in OpenAI itself. Investing in data center is a very understandable strategy as it is one of the fastest growing sectors related to AI. Because so many companies are focused on building computer power for training AI and developing more advanced and smart large language models. Companies are still trying to figure out how to make money with AI. I think Son Masayoshi is also trying to find out what the definitive application or device to utilize AI will be. Something like an iPhone before a smartphone was a thing. And I think that's where OpenAI comes in. There is nowhere else to get those hints and industry information from OpenAI, which is one of the fastest growing AI developers in the world. High quality data is also valuable to make better AI. So collaborating with Japanese companies through the new joint venture with OpenAI could open doors to new business opportunities as well.
I can see why if you're going to invest in AI, you would go to the company that has been synonymous with the boom, along with NVIDIA. But ChatGPT is just, I think, what most people associate with the generative AI industry. And as you said, the question over how to make money with this is still very much, I think, an open one. So it'll be quite interesting to see what SoftBank and OpenAI together can come up with. Because as you said, the investing in data centers has been a booming business. But eventually, we're going to have to find out what we want to do with all those data centers. So it will be an interesting next couple of months, to put it mildly.
It will.
Thanks so much for joining us, Ryohtaroh. It's been a fascinating conversation, and I can't wait to read your next coverage on AI.
Thanks for having me.
That's all for this week's episode. For more of Nikkei Asia's tech coverage, visit asia.nikkei.com. You can also subscribe to our weekly Tech Asia newsletter, which will be delivered to your inbox every Thursday. Thanks again for listening, and check back with us next week for more updates on the tech trends that matter.